Hello, my name is Rachel, and it's a privilege for me to be here on this platform again. Wow, today we have an interesting topic I want to discuss on anxiety in women. I think generally we all have anxiety issues, it's natural, but then we'll look at maybe what anxiety is in details and see when we need to maybe call for help or look out to management, maybe when you start seeing maybe areas that make you feel like you're getting into the extreme of anxiety levels. So to begin with, anxiety is just a natural emotional response to stress or maybe perceived danger. Naturally, when we are stressed or maybe we are perceiving some danger, anxiety strikes. So the symptoms of anxiety can be maybe you feel agitated or irritated, maybe lack of control in breath, like you start having uncontrolled breath. Also rapid heartbeat. When you're struck with anxiety, you start noticing that you're not at rest, you're not calm, your breath is quite so rapid and your heart is so rapid. So these are the things that some people may experience. It depends with maybe how you're made. Other people are shaking, other people will not be just seated at one place. I think even in offices, sometimes you may strike with anxiety and you just feel like you can't sit on your chair. You walk up and down on the room. But then when does it get to be a concern? That's maybe how we have to look at it today. So as women, because of the nature of how God made us, we are multitasked by nature. I believe you can agree with me. A woman can be doing this and that, but maybe at some point you get stressed, or maybe your plans are not working at the end of it, or you just feel like, faced with anxiety or anxious. So we'll look at the causes of anxiety. What causes anxiety? Sometimes it's just a genetic makeup, how you're made. Maybe your family, you've got a background of people having anxiety issues and you just inherited it. It's something that is genetic. Sometimes it's the past experiences. There are people who have faced abuse, they've been in traumatic relationships, and whenever maybe something that maybe happened triggers, they play and then they'll get anxious. They'll start perceiving like the same thing will happen again. Maybe someone was involved in an accident, and then when they get into a car, maybe it was a blue car, and it just plays and you get anxious, you start panicking, you become restless, you start thinking about the negatives. And then the other thing could be also our social, like culture, our environment, especially maybe I can say in Africa, for single ladies, the culture expects maybe by 25 you should settle, you should have a man, you should be married. But maybe when you pass that age, anxiety strikes, because around you there'll be people asking you, when are you going to be married? When is your wedding? And sometimes even for the married, you find maybe you don't have a child yet. The social environment will start asking, when are you having a baby? And anxiety levels begin to rise. And at some point, if not controlled, you will find yourself losing your mind. There are a lot of people who are, because of what is affecting their environment, lose it. And in the end, we say, no, they're having mental health breakdown. It's because of such issues. And also our belief system, what we believe in sometimes, may also cause the anxiety levels to rise. So in order for us to maintain a good mental health level of our well-being, we need to be so cautious about our anxiety management. So I'll begin by how to manage our anxiety. So with the symptom that does with genetics, you have to maybe look through and maybe just go through your family lineage. And if there are anything that you find that maybe there are some anxiety levels that have been running up and down, there's no harm in going to the medical personnel who can advise, because some people can just even take medication I know there's a lot of stigma attached to such things. People think, no, I can't take anti-anxiety pills or anything. I can't be on medication just for this. But it's also important because if you're not aware of who you are, what you're made of, sometimes you feel like it's okay, but then later it will cost you a lot. So for those who may have like some genetic anxiety disorder, it's good you seek for medical attention and you hear what a medical personnel can advise on that. With the social influence concerning your environment that may trigger anxiety, you have to know how to build a very good support network, like a support system that you can rely on. Like I gave an example of maybe the ladies who maybe you've passed the age of 25 or maybe you're 30, even maybe 40, depending on how the situation can be. It's good to have a good support network. You can open up to someone and maybe help them know how you feel when people are talking to you about such issues, because those issues, when they are not addressed, may cause depression. People get to be isolated. People feel like they are so left out, they are not blessed. Other Christians even feel like they are cursed, and they just feel like there's something wrong with them. And immediately those start creeping in, those thoughts creeping in, people become so negative about life. People tend to hate themselves. You feel like your friend is more blessed than you because your friend has kids, you don't have kids. You feel like your friend is more blessed than you because your friend is married and you're not married. So a lot of negativity creeps around, which may even deteriorate your health. There are some people, just because of anxiety issues and they're failing to manage them, they had a very good healthy body, all of a sudden you see them wearing out because of such things. The other thing that I'll talk about is, I talked about if your anxiety level is because of genetic problems, social, or maybe it's because of maybe your past experiences. You can still seek for professional counseling. There are people who are sexually abused when they are young, and whenever they maybe want to be in a sexual relationship, such memories play and they cannot be attached to the opposite sex again. So it's good to seek therapy and also to research. We are living in a world where we are having information anywhere and everywhere. So you can always just intentionally get information to look out on ways you can manage what you're going through in terms of anxiety levels. You know, even the Bible talks about anxiety levels. Like, how can you manage your anxiety? The Bible says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, through prayer, place your request unto God. You know, sometimes when you have the panic attacks, when you have the negative thoughts popping up, when you have those mixed feelings, like your heart is rapidly pumping because you're thinking of how will my future be like, how will my tomorrow be like, you know, you're not employed and you've been thinking about how unemployed you are and how lacking financially you are, how unstable you are, your family can't even like count on you, you know, you're raising your anxiety levels. But the Bible also encourages us that despite what is around us, surrounding us, we should not allow anxiety to take over. We should not allow anxiety to drive us, because it will lead us into a ditch that we may not be able to come out. So we have to learn to present our request to God and not to be anxious. We need to know how to maybe approach the right people. I've used the word right people deliberately, because you can't just approach anyone to say, I'm having anxiety issues. It be maybe because of the cultural pressure that we get from people, or maybe because of your makeup, your genes, or anything, whatever may trigger anxiety. You can't just face anyone and say, I want to talk to you about what I'm going. You have to be so specific, and you have to know who exactly can be of help. So I just thought of maybe sharing this to the women, because there's a lot of stigma attached and information attached. A lot of women are not informed about anxieties, and sometimes you just look at it to be, I'm just worried. Yeah, but then we have a lot of statistics of a lot of women having anxiety and mental health issues, and they are not yet even informed. So it's about getting the information knowing what to do when anxiety hits. Where do you run to? What do you do? How do you manage it? So by maybe just going through a lot, or maybe a few tips that I can even talk about, when anxiety hits, you are able to trace it if you are informed. So if you know that this is, I'm having restlessness, I'm thinking negatively, my heart is just pumping so rapidly these days, I'm just thinking about my future, I'm just worried, I'm just isolating myself, I'm in the bed. Depression may not hit by then, but it may lead to there if it's not treated. So when you're informed, when you're aware, you know the next steps to do. You can even do some talk therapy to yourself before you even reach to a counselor or someone. When you start thinking negatively about something, you can start replacing them with positivity. Maybe you feel like your future is useless, or you don't matter, or you're just, what am I here for? You can start saying words like, I'm important, I'm here for a reason, I've got purpose, God has a plan for me. Or maybe you're employed for some time and you just feel like, I'll never get employed. You start confessing positively. I think even the Bible encourages us in terms of being positive about life. But even psychologists say there's power in speech, like confessing positive thoughts and also words to yourself, because you build yourself, and the fear that comes due to anxiety wears away as it gets defeated by the positive words that you speak to yourself. You can also do some mind relaxation. In mental health, mind relaxation is key. Whenever you feel so much like panic, you're having a panic attack, you're having a panic disorder, you can have some time to breathe in, to breathe out, to go out in a place where you're isolated, not to worry, not to think negatively, but to build your energy, to feel yourself, to come out and just be there for yourself, as in you just calm, you just let any other thing to fall away and just meditate and just be focused on building yourself. So meditation helps, therapy helps, positive talks help, but also if you are good at journaling, you can also journal. But there are times whereby you can't just overcome it when it's excessive. Please seek for medical attention. Don't feel so embarrassed about it. I don't know why a lot of women feel so embarrassed about maybe having some anxiety or any mental health issues. Mental health issues is not mental health illness. People have to be aware about that. Anyone can be struck with anxiety, and you are faced with anxiety. Don't be ashamed to talk about it. Don't be ashamed to research. Don't be ashamed to reach out. And above all, go to God in prayer. Present your request to God. Is there anything troubling you? Is there anything making you restless? Is there anything making you to lose control and you feel like you're losing it out? Is your social environment maybe asking you too much questions of things that are not happening in your life, your experiences and the like? Don't be too much anxious. Present them to God. So thank you so much for this time. I really appreciate being with you. Bye.